Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to another episode of The Black's Finest with me, Robert.
With me, Pete.
No,
That's
Moses.
it. Yeah.
Couldn't take the fire. So stay out the furnace.
This was a week after he's preached as well.
Yeah,
So
he didn't want that smoke.
conveniently couldn't make it.
We were like an asthmatic, bro. Well, no, he preached really, really well.
Yeah.
It was a good combination of vulnerable and intellectual and accessible, I thought.
It was stressful for me because it effectively was, and I confirmed with both of them afterwards that it wasn't intentional, but it effectively was the same message from two perspectives almost. Like James did the communion, he did the preach, and they both talked about the same thing. And the entire time I couldn't help but like get past the idea of, I think when who was it that had to interpret the dream of I think it's Joseph that had to interpret the dream of Pharaoh where
Yeah.
the cows ate the things, and then there were also the it was the cows and then the skinny cows, and then what was the other one?
And then there was like the wheat that was eating the other wheat.
That was eaten by the other wheat, yeah. And I was like, because that dream has occurred twice, it's a confirmation that something will actually happen. And both of them talked about effectively trusting God. James was like, if you can trust your parents to give you food. And she made the analogy of how the kids trust their parents, almost expect their parents to always provide food. And then Mo made the analogy, and I like this illustration he gave of like taking the step even before it's sort of lit up. He used
Michael Jackson
video from Billie Jean where he steps on it and then it lights up. And in my head, I don't know if you remember X2, X-Men 2, when Magneto gets he gets out of some prison or something.
Oh, because he had the raised iron in his blood.
Yeah. But he does this thing where, I think it's that or it's another one, but effectively Magneto does this thing where he's walking and he's forming the steps as he's going. And it's like the same thing. When he starts the step, it's not there. By the time his foot hits, the thing has formed. And I was like, this thing coming twice is almost like God saying, pay attention because you're going to need to trust me. And this week has been that for me. It's been having to just trust God and like go and it's been like literally this week has been probably the toughest week of my professional career thus far. But it's been like, just trusting God and he's brought me through. And I trust in him to see me through to the end. But yeah, it was good. It was good all around. So yeah. Even though he won't watch this, kudos to him.
Yeah.
And kudos to James.
Luckily, the best half of the finance is here. Peter's here as well. So let's get into it. One for one?
Yeah.
Cool. Can I go first?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Great. Peter, how would you talk to, or how would you explain to a non-believer about being able to hear from God or hear from the Holy Spirit in a way that doesn't make you seem crazy?
I'd start off with the fact that it is crazy. Like in terms of I guess if we're just to an unbeliever, normally they are. I'm making a lot of assumptions here, but I'm making the assumption that the non-believer is one of the people that wants evidence and is like scientifically based and all of those things, which is the typical non-believer. And so to say that you hear from a God, you hear from an outside intelligence is inherently crazy by their worldview.
Sounds schizophrenic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By their worldviews, so I'd start off almost accepting that you're asking me how do I do this thing that's otherwise supernatural, and if all you care about is the natural, then it will sound super to you, and so I'll start from there. But then I'll go on to talk about the fact that I personally am self-aware enough to know of what I do know and what I don't know. I know what I can know and what I can't know. I know that I do not know the future. Sorry, I know I do not know the future, and that I can't guarantee by instinct or by observation that certain choices that I make, especially the ones that I believe are directed by God, will yield something good. There's two elements. I have hope. I have a confident expectation that they will be good. And two, experientially, I have seen that they've been good. So you're asking me how I hear from God? It's going to be very subjective, and I will only be able to speak from my experience. But in my experience, I have had the instances where I tend to I delegate sort of navigation to Google Maps whenever I'm driving anywhere. And you drive enough places enough times, you know the routes to the place. So I know the shortest route, I know the best route, I know the routes that Google Maps is telling me to take. With Google Maps is enhanced awareness of traffic situations and all of that. And I know this one time I'm going somewhere and I feel God say to me to go a different route that is longer, that's more likely to be traffic prone, and I take that route and I end up bumping into someone that needed an encouragement that I had for her, right?
Mm.
You could call it coincidence, sure, maybe, but that sort of situation is consistent in my life. And you can't also call a consistent occurrence where there is an understanding of, oh, this thing, maybe you can say I'm misinterpreting some other instinct or peripheral vision or awareness to God. But I know whenever I've followed what God has led, it has brought me to a good point, be that for me or be that for someone else, right? And so experientially, I know that. And I also have a confidence in those things that God is leading me where I haven't seen it come to fruition. I have a hope that they will come to pass. And so that's sort of how I'll talk about my experience of hearing from God. Um, and it will I think it will have to be a subjective, personal account, and that's been my life thus far. So that's sort of the approach I take.
Cool. Nice. Yeah. 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 I think believing in a supernatural God, like you said, there'll be supernatural things that will happen that you can't explain away.
Yeah,
Um, and so that's where the faith part comes in.
yeah, yeah.
In the same way, in the same way, these scientists have faith in the Big Bang, but they can't tell you how matter was created, but if there was no matter in the first place.
No, this is the thing. Science asks you for one miracle. That's the only difference. The only difference between the scientist and the Christian, at least I think the Christian that has studied stuff, is the scientist wants one miracle. Just give me the Big Bang and I'll explain the rest. The Christian is like, it's all a miracle. So, yeah. So that's sort of, yeah. And then there's also the sort of flip side of things where you look at a lot of athletes. You look at all these sort of psychiatrists. Like I'm thinking like Huberman, Andrew Huberman or whatever his name is. Like all of these guys that talk about the power of positive thinking and manifesting, and there's all this new age pseudo spiritual stuff, and all of that to me actually ends up pointing to the fact that even those that don't align themselves with a religion or with spirituality in its traditional definition have some sort of awareness of an external something.
Mm.
It's easier to call it the universe, it's easier to call it a higher power, it's easier to call it your higher self,
Come on.
whatever the case. There seems to be, even amongst those that aren't religious, an awareness and an understanding, something outside of themselves that they also tend to want to tap into. Um, we Christians just believe we've identified what it is as God. Um, but all of those things end up being, I think, evidence that maybe there is something. Maybe there is something. And if you're open to it, then we can start talking about you hearing from God if you so desire. But yeah, that's
Cool.
me. Rob, I've got a less spiritual question.
Okay.
I want to understand what's your productivity system currently. Like,
Mm.
when I say productivity system, what's your routines, your workflows, and if you wanted to share, what sorts of apps and tools do you use to get things done?
Okay. Where to begin? I can't lie. I'm I'm not much at the moment. I'm not much of a all right, let's plan the day out kind of person. I have
Right.
like a like a general idea of what I'm doing in my head. Okay, so going to work after work, gonna go to this place, from this place, gonna go home, play my game. And so that's what my day will look like.
Okay.
And then the other stuff like later on, I'll think about it later on. Unless there's something I need to do for it, then I'll be thinking about it. But as I'm going to each place, I'm thinking about what I need to do in that place. For example, today I knew it was going to be very busy at work today, so I made sure that I prepped everything the night before, so that I could just quick jump in the shower, um, get out of the house. I was able to do some work on the bus because I knew how much work I would have to do, so I was trying to fit in as much as I could before I got to my place of work, so that when I got to work, the work that I didn't have to do now, which meant that I wouldn't be delayed waiting on people to do stuff who waiting on me to do my work. And so it just spread out the whole workflow. And,
Nice.
and so if I can see a problem like down the way, I would try and work out a way to supersede that problem before I get to the problem, rather than get to the problem and then trying to fix it. Um, yeah, when it comes to how do I organize, I don't think that was in my vocabulary. Like literally, I was away for how long was I away for?
3 weeks, 2 weeks.
No. This was at work. I took some time off work.
Oh,
I think I no, yeah, no. I was away on a work trip for like 4 or 5 days.
mm.
I come back and my manager has tidied my desk
Oh, stress. Stress.
because I operate in organized chaos. So
You operate in
everything
chaos. Cool.
organized chaos.
Chaos. Cool.
And so everything is all over the place.
But you know exactly where
Ask
everything
me
is.
where it is, I'll
Yeah.
tell you.
Mm.
And this is one of the problems I found in marriage. I know where everything is, but my wife was trying to move something, thinking she's being helpful. It spoils the whole system, bro. There was one time I was looking for a weighing scale. I was trying to do some cooking. I could not find this thing to save my life. I know where I like to keep. I like to keep it in the cupboard by the plates. It wasn't there. And I was getting so frustrated. I was so frustrated at her because she moved, she moved my thing. I called her. I was like, "Bro, where did you move this thing?" And she could hear me being frustrated. Well, I was trying to be cool. I was like, inside, I was like, "Oh, don't touch the stuff. You don't even use the scale, bro. Why you touch it anyway?"
Oh no.
And then we were able to find it. It was hidden under something.
Mm.
But if I'd known it was hidden under there, I would have gone straight there. But because someone else had hidden it, it's broke the thing. Um, I'm not really a fan of like electronics when it comes to organizing my day.
Okay.
I'm very much a pen and paper kind of person,
Mm.
and I'm not talking a pad of paper. At work, I'm very much known for writing on the backs of envelopes and stuff.
But this is not a system.
It works.
It's not a system.
Look, I've even got an envelope in my bag. Give me a second. Give me a second.
What you're describing is the definition of disorganization. It's not a system. It's not. You're dressing this thing up like, yeah, this is my super eclectic way of doing things. It's like, no.
Look. Okay, so this was a letter that came to work. Okay, I emptied out the letter, and then I had some payments to make. And then as I was making the payments, I had to make adjustments. So I wrote down all the payments, wrote down all the adjustments I needed to make, whether it needed to increase or decrease it. After I did it, crossed it out, crossed it out, crossed it out. Then on another envelope, there was some I needed to make adjustments for. So I wrote those down.
You were on the front of it as well.
Yeah, well, paper's paper. And then once I'm done, I'll just chuck it away. So in my on my table, I used to have like a whole bunch of just like open envelopes, just so I could use them as my paper to write. My manager threw them all away. She said, "Robert, no more."
Is that because are those notes not things that you will ever need to go back to?
No.
And then is that just because you don't want to sort of waste paper? So it's like this is already sort of waste.
No,
paper.
it's just this paper I can use. Like I'm also prone to writing notes on my desk in pencil as well. So like I'll write on the actual table in pencil, just so I have it there.
OD, that's so shout out to OD. OD's watching. He said he'll send you a notebook.
look. Even at church on Sunday, look, I was even writing my notes on the plate for worship. And I do this. Bro, you see me like I write out the set list. I'll go grab a plate and I write out the set list. This one.
If I knew this was the case, I wouldn't have asked you this question, honestly.
This one, the chords were hard. So I wrote out all the difficult chords.
They're actually chords on this thing.
Yeah.
and so Robert did a really good job on Sunday. It was the first time playing with the lady that sang on worship.
Shout out to Laura Lou.
And yeah. No, evidently I didn't know this. I would not have asked this question because this is.
It's organized chaos. It's organized chaos.
This is you with your laptop without a case, with your camera without a lens cap on, all over again. It's my head is hurting. All right,
but you know what? It sounds crazy, but the way you see me in my workflow mode, it's poetry in motion.
What it is the grace of God evidently making it such that you're not completely losing everything, because I don't know how this works, but
it's poetry. Peter, you see how organized I am. Well, like look, I'm all over the place, but I'm able to structure and organize. It's
I mean, that's the thing. I can't argue because it seems to be working.
I am the ordinary amazing.
There's nothing ordinary about this. This is crazy.
Exactly. Supernatural. Only by God.
And what about like tools and apps and stuff that you use as well? You're still with Evernote, aren't you?
Yes. So when I'm writing my sermons, I write them on Evernote. When I'm doing my worship set list on Evernote, when I am trying to, what else do I use? I've got this app here called Audio Manager, and it allows me to affect all the different sounds on my phone. Got my calculator app. I have everything in folders. Look, organization. See, look. Oh, careful. Oh, I don't know what that was going to open with. So look. I've got all my money, all my money stuff in this app.
Okay, all right.
I've got all my fitness stuff in that app.
Okay.
I've got all my game stuff in that app. Okay. I keep WhatsApp here so that I can look at them without having to open them, and then I can read them and then not answer. I need to answer people. I need to respond to people. Yeah, and that's it.
Cool. Okay.
Organized chaos, and it works.
Chaos.
As long as you don't interrupt the flow. Don't try and come into it, because you will ruin everything. Let me be.
Cool. You are the polar opposite of how I do stuff, but cool. It works.
You got too many apps and stuff.
Yeah. Well, yeah. No, that's cool. I thought it would be interesting If
And the thing is,
I'd
like,
known you did this, I would not have asked you. But yeah,
I try to be like you and be like, okay, I'm gonna write everything down meticulously. I'm gonna have use this app to do this and this stuff. It just takes too much energy.
fair enough.
I'm very much okay, let's bundle through something. If we make a mistake, we make a mistake. We fix it when the mistake comes.
Oh no. I'm like, let's plan. Let's know exactly what's going to happen, and then let's have contingencies for every single thing that could possibly go wrong, and let's write it all down, present it well, have a Kanban board. Yeah.
No, thank you.
Fair. Like I said, it works. So I can't even knock it. I would not have known. Evidently, I did not know. But yeah,
and the thing is, when I'm working at my maximum capacity, it's I wish I could just tell you the stories about how sick I am, bro. Because it's serious. Let me tell you a story.
All right, story time.
So I was at this away day. It was like a Christian camp thing. You know, I was with the finance department, so I was doing finance things, and then the head of finance was there. He wanted some of us to help with the collecting of the money during the collecting on one of the days. But for some reason, everybody but finance had been in the meeting to do with how they're going to do the collection. And so we get there on like day 2, which was maybe like a day or 2 before the collection was supposed to happen. It was a day before the collection was supposed to happen. Like, we didn't know what was happening. And literally all we had was one map of the venue. So we take the map, I go inside, I count how many rows of chairs there are. It's because it's like a 4 thing. So I count number of chairs. And then I work out, okay, we'll need X amount of people on each row to be able to do all the collecting. The buckets come. There's 100 buckets, you know, and they're labeled from A to Z, and it's like from like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They're labeled on the inside of the bucket. And these are the buckets where like you have to put the top on because of GDPR. People are putting money in with it. So there's that. Not only are the labeling inside the buckets, they're not even labeled in any order. So first job, we had to lay out all the buckets to put them in order. So I did it. I had 2 rows, A to M, N to Z. I said, okay, guys, we need to stack these buckets. If you see A, count along to F, G. You know, make some space for the letters that haven't come yet, but you know are coming. Put them down. So we did that. At first, people were like, I don't know what's happening. But as the bucket started to come, like, okay, I can see the vision now. So we got that done. Next step, had to go photocopy like 10 million versions of this plan of the map. And I needed to create something so I could say who was going to go to which section. Yeah. These times I'm doing all of this. I'm on the floor scribbling. But when you see the paper, masterpiece. And somehow I ended up being the organizer of the whole thing. So I had all the buckets set out. People coming in their 2s. I said, okay, you guys, you're going to be in this section. Here are your 10 buckets. Bring back your 10 buckets or you're going to be in trouble. Go off. And then people were bringing the buckets, bro. It was moving like just sickness. And at the end, collect all the buckets, count off if anyone missing, and then go back and find those buckets. We did that twice.
Yeah.
And if you think honestly, I feel like if anyone else had been in charge of it with as little time as they had, it wouldn't have gone as smoothly as if I'd done it.
Fair enough.
It was serious. I did not get the promotion I was hoping for, but you know, God knows.
at least you did it. Yeah.
But yeah, organized chaos. It's not for everyone. It's not for the faint of heart. But don't worry, I'll teach you the ways. Come be my disciple.
That's it. I'll teach you the ways.
Yeah, cool. Do you know what song's been on my rotation this week?
Usher and Kiki Farmer.
No. I listened to that once and that was it.
Okay.
I'm not going to give those people any more views. Stupid people. You'll never guess.
Oceans. Is it
No,
Oceans? Yeah,
Oceans.
Hillsong.
No,
Spirit lead me.
Oceans isn't even one of my favorite songs, to be honest.
Okay. Is it Christian or is it secular?
Secular.
Something drill.
No,
Celine Dion.
no.
I'm
I
not gonna
did.
guess that one.
I did do the karaoke for that the other day, though.
Yeah.
That was fun. But yeah, so it was the Power Rangers theme song.
Go Go Power Rangers.
Yeah, you know the day you got a power and a force that you never seen before.
I don't think I've heard the full one before.
Oh, it's
Is this the original Mighty Morphin?
yes. So,
The
so, so,
original.
so yeah. So well, it's the original song,
Yeah.
but they used it when it was the second set of Megazords that they had when it was transforming. When it had like the dragon, when like Red Ranger had like the Chinese dragon,
Okay.
yeah,
So
and it'll
when
come
they had
together.
was it the Zeo crystals? I think.
I don't think no, not Zeo. I think it was just in between the original Mighty Morphin
Oh,
and
Ninja
Zeo.
when they had the ninja powers.
Yeah.
Oh
I
man.
was watching the song, and I was listening to it, and as a piece of music, like take out the fact that it's Power Rangers, as a piece of music, it's so seamlessly put together and so silky smooth to listen to. It's actually been great.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and like rock songs are like really good like that, you know.
That's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That's
Rock
fair.
songs just they be rocking out. It may sound like a lot of noise, but I I feel like we think it's a lot of noise, but if you actually sit down and listen to it, it's actually really good. So shout out to you, Rockstar people. I'm not the satanic ones. You guys chill.
Nah, fair.
Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's get into the topic for today. Let's have some fun with this one.
Oh no.
What's her name? Let me find it. I was looking at her. You know, this week's famous news person, Lucy Letby.
Oh god. Oh no. How are we gonna have fun with this? This is super dumb.
You watch you watch where it goes, okay? So Lucy Letby, for those who don't know, she's been called the most prolific child killer in the modern British history. She was a nurse who I think she killed 6 babies and attempted to kill another 7. She's been caught. She went to jail, or she went to court, and I think she got like proper life in prison. Not life like you be out in 10 years. I mean, she got that proper life sentence.
Yeah.
I think she did all of her killings over like a 2-3 year stint. She was even journaling about it in her journal.
She was
All of that
journaling.
stuff.
I mean, it's impossible to get away from all the headlines, but I haven't followed the story. I haven't like paid attention to it.
Yeah. Me. But I haven't looked into it too deeply, but just from like what people have said and stuff.
Journaling about. Oh my god.
Yeah. It was crazy. Anyway.
Yeah. Noted, yeah, she's never to be released.
Yeah. It's good. People like that, you could be redeemed, but let God redeem you in heaven if you want to come to Him.
People like that are like why I understand Jonah. That's the only way I'm able to understand Jonah. Jonah's like, nah, God, I ain't on it. You're about to tell these people and save them? Nah. It's like no one should preach the gospel to her. It's like, that is crazy.
You feel like there are some people that you don't want to get saved.
You know, it's not the Christian thing to do. God forgive me. Yes, there's
Yeah.
I won't even lie. Like I know it's wrong. And I'm praying God does something. It's obviously my heart is it's hard in a certain way, but you kill 7 babies, like nah, you should die for that. And that's not enough. Yeah, no, no, no.
I don't think it's. I don't think it's not right to think that some people shouldn't be saved. Especially when you got like verse in the Bible where you know that like the Africans love that, you know, you prepare a feast before my enemies for me. You know, if
What?
you
So
got
you hope that
enemies,
the enemies don't get saved. Certainly.
yeah, because they're the ops. You know? So those ones, it's okay if they don't get saved because God said they're the enemies, so they're the enemies. Amen.
Yeah, John. I said John. Odi said John the Baptist thought the same as well. I just, yeah, I don't know. Yeah,
Yeah, it's a shame.
man,
It's a shame.
it's crazy.
But fortunately or unfortunately, redemption is for everyone.
Well, yeah, yeah,
But that's not what I wanted to talk about today.
yeah. I'm
So I
curious to
don't know
see
if
where
you've
you go
been.
with this.
So I remember having this conversation. So I was talking to my sister in law about this on the bus on Sunday after church,
Mm.
and we came to the same conclusion that she was able to get away with this for as long as she did. After as many murders as she did, I think you know where this is going.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. I know, I know,
Because she was a white woman.
I know. I've heard this.
You know, and I think anybody who isn't white can understand the take because you got this blonde haired, blue eyed, pretty enough white woman. Um, after baby two, questions should be being being asked. You know, how you have six victims and another six attempted victims.
Mm.
Are you telling me as like a black person you get that far? No.
All right, so I need to push back on this because, of course, that's been the rhetoric I've heard is she only gets away with this because she's a white woman and whatnot. Why?
A prettyish
Why?
black, no, a prettyish white woman. No, because if she was ugly, then people would be trying to stone her, bro.
I don't think that has anything to do with it.
It
So,
does.
so
Okay, you
yeah.
go.
Well, my question is, why does her appearance prevent her from being questioned? Like, what elements of her appearance do that?
One, it's been
Mm.
scientifically proven that pretty people are more likely to to serve less time in prison for the same crime as people who are not.
Mm.
That's a proven thing,
Okay.
and and
So judges are more lenient on
judges
pretty people
and juries.
and juries. Okay.
Yeah, so
Okay.
like so like you're more likely to like get off as a prettier person.
Mm.
Um, and I think there's just this thing about white women that like butter doesn't melt in their mouth.
Oh my God. No, no. You see,
You don't think so? Like 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 there's only there's there's only now in recent history there being a counterpart to the angry black woman, and that's come in the form of these
the
Karens.
Karen. No, so here's the thing. I think so. My personal suspicion, and Audie is saying this as well, that the media's sort of presented the idea that she doesn't look like a murderer, whatever we consider a murderer to look like. My thing has come with the competency play, because you don't immediately think murderer when it comes to babies passing away. Like, you don't do that. There's a whole what's it called? There's a whole syndrome called I hate it so much I don't even remember what it's called. But the idea of, babies just turning up dead, baby sleeps wrong, can't breathe, and stuff like that. So you don't think competency, or you actually rather think competency when it comes to this. Like, is it just that she's not doing something right? Is she? No one goes. I think even if she wasn't white, the immediate thing wouldn't be murderer. The immediate thing would be competency. Is she? Is she making some sort of mistake? Is she not feeding them right? Like, what's going on? I don't think it would be murderer. And I
Okay,
think
but
everyone's
but like, how
kind
many
of
does have to
involved.
be before it goes from competency to murderer for you?
For me with babies, honestly, I'd never go murderer. I wouldn't. I don't understand how you'd want to kill babies. I don't get it.
I
Like,
think after number 3,
no, because then you're saying then, yeah. I personally, I wouldn't. It would always be competency for me, unless there's something else. Like, but even what would be something else? Like, I can't. In my head, I can't reconcile a person wanting to kill a child. And this whole time, the thing I've been asking myself is, like, why? Was there some mental health issue? Like, what what was going on? Was she killing these kids? And before I realized it was actually murder, I kept thinking, oh, this was like an exceptionally bad nurse or something, like that just was feeding baby the wrong thing or whatever. Like, that's not where my head goes in the first instance, is murder at all, and I still can't understand it. So I was like, yeah,
I can understand it because white people think they can get away with anything.
it's not white people. Oh my god,
Peter, have you seen what's been happening since she's been convicted?
no,
A GoFundMe has been set up to try and get her conviction overturned
why?
because people think that she's innocent.
Did she plead innocent?
I don't know, but you can't
Or,
have
or
all this.
these or these mentioned that there's evidence in her house, like notes that says she did it. So
Yeah,
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 it
yeah.
sounds like, so
The,
she
the, the,
she
the,
is
the-
a murderer, yeah. But then people are just presuming, or people are taking that position because she just doesn't look like, all right. She just
exactly,
doesn't look like her.
because
Yeah.
she looks like your typical butter wooden man melting your mouth. Wow. Okay,
If she was
okay.
black, I still wouldn't. I still wouldn't be able to believe they do that, like black or white. I just wouldn't. I can't. I can't. I don't. Yeah. It
So
doesn't. It doesn't add up in my head.
okay, so what about her? Would you say makes her not look like a murderer? If
Oh
that
no,
makes
no, no!
sense.
It's not. It's not her looking like a murderer. It's the idea of murdering babies. Like, this is the thing. Like, this is the thing. We never. You never see it in comedy. Like, you don't hurt babies. Like it's just. I don't know. In my head, you just don't do that. Like,
You need to watch more Netflix than
no, I
you.
don't. No, I don't. No.
Because
Oh, do you know what? Do you know what? I've seen those videos of like nannies, like beating kids or something.
yeah.
Yeah, and my reaction's always the same. Like, I'd kill the nanny. Like, if I see a nanny and my nanny's hurting my kid, you ain't making it home that night. I'm destroying you. But yeah, yeah, no, I just can't. Babies doesn't make sense. Not to say it doesn't make sense, but I can see a person being demented enough to kill another person. I get that. Like, not that I get that. I'm not a murderer, but I get it. I get it.
I'm just
And
saying
there's defense.
it wouldn't get to 6 babies if it was a black woman killing these babies.
So my problem there also is in this idea of the NHS and cover-ups and a lack of accountability. Like, if again, in my head it's incompetency, but if a nurse is directly involved in one baby's death, two babies' death, that nurse shouldn't be about around babies. Like, you shouldn't be around babies because you're clearly incompetent. But it
Or
seems
clearly a
there was,
murderer.
oh well, evidently a murderer. But it seems there's a very lackadaisical approach to people's health when it comes to NHS. Unfortunately, and that's a cultural thing. Yeah.
Like, I think it was like 4 different specialists like came in and said, "Yo, there's something wrong happening," and it was just like shooed away. I think one of them even lost their jobs
They should.
as a
All of
result.
them should. All of the higher management should.
Oh no, no, no,
Honestly,
oh, no! It was one of the people that said that they should be looked into that
they
lost their
lost their
job.
job.
Yeah.
Mad, mad. Or DA is right. I don't have enough information about the thing. Yeah. And he mentioned that someone else reported it and it was ignored. And I also saw an interview with a doctor, and the doctor had to write a apology to Lucy Letby for raising concerns about her. Her like, it's like, yeah. So yeah. I don't immediately go to the race thing. That's not what adds up in my head because I can't get past the idea of someone killing babies, like murdering babies. It doesn't. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. So
I don't, I
yeah.
don't think you have to. I don't think it's something that is to be gotten in a sense, because like sin is sin, and sin is going to take whatever form it's going to take.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. There's a presumption that we universally don't hurt babies, but then again, yeah.
I mean, child molestation is very much a thing.
Yeah. 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 That's true. That's true.
um,
That's true. Oh snap! Wait, OD is giving us the details. Apparently, she was arrested in 2018.
yeah.
Okay, well, yeah. Don't they do DBSs and stuff like that for this? But anyway, yeah.
But your DBS is clear as long as it's if you say, oh, it was an accident, and they say, okay, then they're not going to put that on your DBS because you're like, okay, you're working in hospital, people are going to die, even if these people are healthy babies that have just been born, sometimes they die too.
Yeah.
Speaking about murder, what do you think would push you to become a murderer?
Oh, I said it so casually. Like I've got a list. Oh, this.
You definitely thought about murder before, haven't you?
Not in that sense, gosh. Not in that sense, but so. It's bad to admit it, but like I watched one video of it was like a nanny and she was caught on nanny cam abusing a kid. I was like, yeah, my kid, you won't make it out. You won't make it out that alive. I saw another video of there was that video going around of like some girls had ganged up on a black kid in school,
Oh
and
yeah, I saw that.
the mum was egging them on to carry on. Yeah, thank you, Od. Yeah, Od's for Christ, I'd murder. Well, biblically, though. Yeah, no. I I don't know how to explain it without sounding like a psychopath.
Well, go for
I
it. It's a safe space.
No, it's not. It's most certainly not a safe space. I get the idea of like being enraged enough to want to remove someone, or even so. Ender's Game. I think when he said, you remember the kid got bullied and he attacked or he tricked the bully and then beat him up, and I was
In the
like, bro,
shower.
yeah, in the shower, and they were asking, oh, you have finished you would had won the fight, why take it further? And he's like, to win the next few fights. And it's like, I get that, like there's some things you want to remove. I want to eliminate the possibility of this ever coming back, and so I guess under the circumstances, I'd I think for family, for defense of someone, I get revenge. Again, I wouldn't immediately jump to those by God's grace, but I get it. I get it. What about yourself? And then all these asks the question. I think it's interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
What about yourself?
What pushed me to murder?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think it's the same. Like retribution, protecting the family. You know, I've seen too many movies where not aiming for their head has led to repercussions down the line.
I don't get it. I don't get it. Especially horror movies where this guy has been a killer, or he's, the
Yeah.
killer's out there. And you get the shot on him, and he's down, and you're just like, I'm so lucky. Nah, take the guy's head off, like.
You put three in his head. That holy trinity right there, bro.
That double tap, like popo. Yeah.
What was the question?
Odie's asking, is assisted killing the same? Like euthanasia and
Ooh.
stuff like that.
No, but I think I'd be down to assist someone to die.
I'd be down. Yeah.
Like if it was someone that I really cared about, and I could see that their quality of life was just in the pan. You know,
It's difficult for me to justify because of faith and the idea of that. It's difficult for me to justify. I get it. And you don't want to see anyone suffer, but I wouldn't be able to assist them. I'd rather pray for the end for them, pray for an end for their suffering.
Do you think that giving permission to turn off a life monitor counts as a system?
Yeah. I think so. But even then, like, because life support sometimes is they're brain dead or something, and you're just keeping their heart beating or something like that. Under those circumstances, I think they're slightly different. But the idea of someone suffering and the suffering is real and they want to end it. It'll be hard.
Yeah.
And it's a hard situation. So.
I think I have to be like a proper suffering, not like, my friends don't like me.
But who determines what? Yeah, okay. Yeah. Don't like me. Cool. Here's a gun. No. Yeah. Oh, that's mad.
And then, well, yeah, I don't know. I feel like if because like you see things where maybe someone has been like paralyzed from like the neck down, and they can't even talk or anything, and they're just lying there.
It's not for me to determine. It's not easy. It's not easy, and it's not a trivial thing. But it's not for me to determine. Like, why can't they blink something glorious to go? Like.
But you haven't determined. They have determined. You're just backing them up.
I can't do that.
I'll be down.
I could pray that God brings the end. And we see that with Job. We see that in the story of Job. He was like, cursed be the day I was born and someone told my parents, you have a boy. If that day hadn't come. Like he prayed for death. And I don't think
but don't think it's different for like praying for death for yourself and compared to praying for death for someone else.
No, I think you can compassionately pray for someone's suffering to end, whether that be for them to end their suffering here and be with you in eternal glory, or for them to be healed. I think you can pray for that. I think you can take that to God, definitely.
Do you think you can pray for your enemies to die and God will hear it?
I think if you're to take Jesus's sermons seriously, then that's not the prayer you pray for.
But could you?
Oh, you could pray. I don't think God will answer you.
But if he did, what are the repercussions?
Oh, then that's God's problem. He killed him.
Oh, angel of death out here and thing, the prophet of death.
Yeah. But the Bible tells us the opposite. Jesus tells us to love our enemies. But that said, Jesus said in loving your enemies, you are putting hot coals on their head. So, if you really want to get them, then love them.
Or put hot coals on their head.
Skip the middleman.
If you got the power to just like click someone to death, you think you'd ever use it?
I'm a human being. I'm a petty human being at that. Yeah.
And how many times? And how many deaths do you think it will take before you became evil with it?
Oh, I think from jump. Absolute power corrupts, absolutely. I think from jump I'm evil with it. Thank God he doesn't give me that power. I'm not a good person outside of his spirit living inside me. But you give someone that power, absolute power corrupts, absolutely, man. It's only a matter of time. It's only a bad someone cuts you off. Yeah.
No. Okay, so let's take it back. If you're faced with someone who's done something seriously bad to you,
Mm.
or to someone that you know, um, what do you think the process is to forgive them? Do you think, or do you think that's the place you need to get to, or do you think it's just okay to get to a place where like it's a like out of sight, out of mind kind of thing?
No, I think, I mean, again, like some of these things are so clear in scripture, we can't ignore it. Before you come and lay down a sacrifice, if you have an issue with your brother, you go and settle it. I think it's important. I think it's required that you forgive them. The Lord's Prayer in and of itself says, "Forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us." Like there is an understanding of our trespasses against God are so much more significant, regardless of how heinous the crime, than our trespasses against one another. And so I think it's not to say you get up and you're there. It's not to say you immediately are capable of forgiving someone. But I think it is to say it seems God is presenting that as a requirement from us. The idea of that parable of the guy that owed the king, or he owed his master a certain amount, and then his master forgave him, but then his friend owed him a fraction of that, and he was holding that person to account. And I
Mm,
think that speaks to, and if we understand sin, that speaks to our situation. There is nothing that you can do against me that will be more heinous than the fact that I have sinned against a perfect God and fallen short of his glory. Like, regardless, and unless you are willing to um, trivialize what sin is, if you recognize what sin is, then there's nothing, and I don't say that unaware of the fact that there will be so much pain and so much hurt and so much trauma with some of the things that we can do to each other. I mean, this whole thing we started with demonstrates the depravity of man. Um, but in the grand scheme of things, in contrast to what we have done, continue to do against God, here's the thing: God's Holy Spirit comes and indwells anyone that accepts Him. I believe that. If you
mhm.
accept Christ, His Spirit comes and lives within you. I don't know a single person who, since they have been saved, has not sinned. And so, if the Spirit is within you and you're sinning, you're grieving the Spirit, you're dragging the Spirit through all of that. Some people have described it as you're re crucifying God. But it all goes to say, like, especially for Christians, we continually do wrong against God, and there's an element of His grace and His love that means we are being brought out of it and being transformed. But I say that to then say there's nothing that someone can do against you that will compare to that. And so I think we are required, long story short, we are required to forgive. Now, getting there is another thing. And I don't think anyone needs to get there immediately. I do think it has to be something you bring to God. It has to be something that you are open to God working in you. And that doesn't also need to be done whilst you're hugging the person. No. I think you can healthily keep a distance, out of sight, out of mind, get away. But you need to forgive not for that person. You need to forgive for you, because that's what's required. Technically, if you haven't forgiven, then you can't go and give anything to Christ. Then you aren't expecting God to forgive you because you aren't forgiving others. So there's I think God tying it to that says He needs us to, and then it's just another thing that we need to rely on Him to help us do.
Mm.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, where do you stand on that?
Um, yeah, I'm definitely a firm believer of praying the prayer, Lord, help my unbelief. If I'm not there, help me get there.
Help me get there. Nah, facts, facts.
And the thing is, with God, you can't fake it. You
No,
can't fake.
exactly, exactly.
You can't fake saying that you're forgiving this person.
Yeah,
God sees the
He
heart
knows
even
your
more
heart.
than you know your heart.
Exactly,
Um,
exactly.
so just be honest with God,
Yeah, yeah,
and and like God will meet you where you are. He
yeah.
will he will shed light on anything that needs to be shed light on.
Mm,
He'll give you the comfort that you need,
mm,
and ultimately, your relationship with Him isn't worth any anger or any ill feelings that you have towards any other person.
Facts.
Um,
No.
yeah, and like we see in I say in movies, chasing revenge and vengeance
Mm.
never works out well for the person.
No.
Like you might end up killing the person, but then what? Like that, how much of yourself do you lose in that process? Like
Mm.
what kind of person do you become?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah,
Mm. Yeah.
that's all.
That's that Batman's thing, isn't it? If he ever kills the Joker, the number of murderers stays the same.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I remember there was this game. I never played it. The Last of Us Part Two.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
There was one girl. She used to play guitar, but then she went looking for revenge, and then she was able to get her revenge, but then it cost her fingers. And so by the end of the game, yeah, she got the revenge, but now she can't play guitar anymore.
So funny.
It's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah.
But apparently, Last of Us Part Two is crap. Play the first one is better.
Oh, don't play games. I'm gonna do something productive.
Like play games. Playing games is productive. PR. Don't be one of those people.
I am.
Cool. All right, let's round up.
Cool. Cool.
Hookups.
Yeah. 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 Hookups. Can I go first?
Go for it.
So my hookup is going to be. I'm gonna give an AI tool, but then I want to say this: don't be scared of AI taking your job. Be scared of someone that uses AI taking your job, because that's what's gonna happen. And the tool I
Oh,
want to,
quick question. What
yeah.
do you think? What do you think about this hate from artists? Like when it comes to AI.
Oh no, I don't trivialize it because it's a new problem, and it's a new problem that we need to address, because AI is um it is sort of circumventing the process that would mean their art or their products or their content would be appreciated. The number of like YouTube videos that I have just summarized and not watched because AI now means I can do that. It's like it's not fair. It's not yeah, it isn't fair. And the argument is, well, the information is out there. People will take in the information and then create something new. But then what you're doing with AI is you're no longer actually consuming the information. You're just literally like skimming it for all it's worth, and then like not giving them the credit. They're not benefiting from it in any way. So it's a new problem. It's a new problem that needs to be addressed, and one that needs to be addressed hopefully in the favor of the artist, the content creator, the educator not losing out, because AI is now here. But I think it's a real problem. I think it's a very real problem, and I'm part of the problem. I can't rely. Yeah. But yeah, my hookup is that Edge. So the Edge, this is what used to be Internet Explorer, and there was once a time where Internet Explorer was only useful for downloading Chrome, but Internet Explorer has become Edge, and Microsoft, I think because they own part of OpenAI, who are the guys that have released ChatGPT, soon ChatGPT 4, they've built AI into the browser. So you don't even need to go
Ooh.
and sign up to OpenAI to get access to ChatGPT anymore. They've built it into the browser. If you open the Edge browser, there's a B for Bing again. Bing is a search engine that no one cared about. But now in Bing, you can literally use AI, use it to summarize, use it to make suggestions, and it has access to the internet as well. So you can use to search for stuff. It's extremely powerful, and I think everyone should be getting to grips with it. It's still a fairly primitive technology because all it is really is language, a large language model.
But it's
We
evolving.
what we're using now is like it's yeah, it's just the infancy of, it's like what I guess what's a good analog for it? I can't think of a good analog for it, but it's we're in the infancy. We're using it in a very primitive way. Right now, all it's doing is like predictive text suggestions. It's not really that special, um, but it's going to be very very powerful, and they're using it in so many different ways that it's very yeah. So get to grips. Start using it. Start exploring with it. Start using it for your searches to summarize stuff. Just start getting familiar with AI. And I think the Bing AI integration in Microsoft Edge, what used to be Internet Explorer, is a very easy sort of very low barrier to entry way of getting to grips with AI. So that's my hookup.
Oh, question.
Mm.
Sorry, I'm going off a tangent. I saw this on the internet. I thought it was funny. So this lady had this AI program. So she
Mm.
married lady, and she was like flirting and like sexting with like an AI program.
So what lady?
A married woman. She was
Okay,
she was a married
yeah,
woman,
yeah.
and every night she would sleep apart from her husband, and then she'll be texting and flirting with the AI.
Yeah.
Does that count as infidelity to you?
Yeah, especially for a woman. I'm sorry, I'm gonna be sexist, but yeah, yeah. But not it's not infidelity per se, but it's the
Emotional cheating?
same emotional cheating. Yeah, yeah. It's a little bit worse than pornography because
I think it's
with
worse
porn
than pornography.
yeah, because with AI it's easier to anthropomorphize what you are doing and sort of actually develop an emotional connection, especially in today's day and age. It's easy to actually like think you are talking to a person and develop an emotional connection to that person. Whereas with
Mm.
porn, there is a divide. You're watching something. Yeah, you're fantasizing, but there's an easier acknowledgement of that this is something that's occurred apart from you. Whereas with if you're doing AI stuff, or not even AI, but that's the whole chatbots, what they call it, virtual, whatever, there's a, I think it's harder to distinguish between reality, and so you can develop real emotions. And so on your side, the person, the woman, she's developing emotions or an attachment or something towards this AI that should be otherwise presented. So yeah.
Cool. Men, watch your women's phones. The machines are coming to take your place. Started with the vibrators, moving to the phones. From there, my hookup is the worship song. Above all,
Okay.
uh, Michael W. Smith, I believe he sings the version of
Bruh,
it.
that is old school.
Old school, yeah. We sang it at church on Sunday, and I just been
Mm.
thinking about it during the week. Leading up to Sunday, I was like, oh, I'm gonna sing this song, and then we sang the song. I was like, oh, I love this song. But yeah, that's my hookup. Crucify,
Okay. All right.
lay
All right.
behind the stone.
Okay.
Anyway, so hopefully Moses will be back next week.
Yeah.
Maybe he can finally stand the heat of the furnace.
He can account for his words on
Jeez.
Sunday.
What can I say? When the fire comes, it pours. No, when the fire
Um,
rains, it
I was gonna
pours.
say yeah. No. No.
Cool. Shout out, reach for the intro outro music. Calvin Turner, Audrey, and Razor logo. You can find us at X. So I
At the
was being
Furnace
silly, then
UK.
it's gone. At the Furnace UK. You can find us on Instagram at TBS Furnace. YouTube, Audrey Amazing. You can email us at tbsfurnace@hotmail.com. You can find us at soundcloud.com/the Blacksmith Furnace, no apostrophe. On all good podcasts and websites and apps, Blacksmith Furnace with an apostrophe. And that's it.
So
So this is the Blacksmith Furnace signing out. Blah.
yeah. And big shout out to OD. OD's been with us the whole time, and thanks for your insight on the whole Lucy Letby thing. It's again, kind of crazy. But yeah.
White women are